you're having trouble finding that perfect gift for a loved one, a Portland Spirit cruise is a great option because Portland Spirit gift cards never expire and are valid on any cruise they sell, which includes my personal favorites, Wine on Water, Seven Wonders of the Gorge, and their very popular happy hour and dinner cruises. I've personally gone on a few Portland Spirit cruises and highly recommend them to anyone who loves boats and being on the water. Head over to portlandspirit.com for all the details. That's portlandspirit.com. Portland Bureau of Transportation wants you to get home safe this New Year's Eve, so they're offering $10 off Uber and Lyft for trips that start in the city of Portland from 7 p.m. on December 31st through 4 a.m. on January 1st, all while supplies last. You can get your discount code on December 31st at portland.gov/SafeRide25, or you can just ask your bartender for a coupon on New Year's Eve. Help us all ring in the New Year safely. Please do not drive while intoxicated. Today on CityCast Portland, we're looking into why 5 city council members are lawyering up, the controversial multi-billion-dollar idea to revitalize a coastal town, and a check-in on 3 local labor disputes. Joining me on this week's Friday News Roundup are KBOO News Director Althea Billings and our very own senior producer Giulia Fiaoni. It's Friday, December 19th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Welcome, everyone, to the Friday News Roundup. Althea and Giulia, thank you for joining me this morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Today is the day we break down some of the biggest local stories of the week with some of the best and brightest journalists in town wearing the cutest Christmas sweaters. But before we jump into the news, I usually ask our guests an opening question so our new listeners can get to know them a little better. And this week's question is related to the fact that our 2025 holiday guide is live. Think local gifts, cozy and festive events, everything that makes winter in Portland, magical. Just visit portland.citycast.fm, click on that holiday guide banner, and you'll see a bunch of pics there. So carrying over that holiday spirit, my opening question to you both is, what would you gift a local leader if you were their secret Santa? That can be our governor, our state or county DA, the mayor, city councilors, county leaders, any of these people. So who would you pick and what would you gift them?
Well, when I pulled Multnomah County Chair Jessica Vega Peterson, this was prior to her announcement that she wasn't running for re-election. So I do have to return the pin press for making campaign buttons that I was going to get her. But
okay.
She probably doesn't.
So involved.
She probably doesn't need that anymore. But I was thinking maybe a craft kit of some kind. Maybe something meditative. She's got another year to get through here. Maybe like, you guys remember Spirograph?
Oh, yeah.
I found one of these recently, which is why I was thinking about it.
Oh, my God. I love those things. Sorry, Althea. I just haven't thought about that.
No, please. I was stoked to find it.
Whoa.
So I want to get Jessica Vega Peterson a Spirograph kit for her Secret Santa.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that idea. I think she does need a lot of meditative support at this moment. She has one of the lowest approval ratings pretty much of any regional leader.
Well, that was last year. It could be higher or lower by this point.
It's true. But I mean,
Spirograph it out,
Well, what about you, Giulia?
Okay, so I thought about this a little bit, and this is what I came to. I would be buying a Secret Santa gift for the mayor, Mayor Keith Wilson, and I would buy him a key to the city. I thought about this because the mayor usually buys people a key to the city to give them special access to the city back in medieval times, right? We're going way back with this one.
This is very involved.
But I'm going to do like a whole switcheroo on the mayor and buy him a key to the city. Just to remind him, like, we still appreciate you. We really are grateful for what you do for the city.
Where would this key open?
How big is it, by the way?
It's a metaphor.
Oh, so it's not so it's like a fake key.
Picture a wall around Portland. That key back in medieval times would open the gate.
Oh, it's like a cute gesture. I get it. I get it. So it's not to like, your apartment or something. It's just like
No,
that
wouldn't be right.
Isn't that weird?
I'm getting the mayor a key to my apartment. Come on in.
I'm just like, Giulia, I don't think you should. I think that's weird. I think he's going to be very uncomfortable about that.
And this key, you asked how big it is. It's going to be like comically large.
Oh,
like,
comically
like
large.
two-hander.
Got it.
I got a key to the city.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think that's great, Giulia, but I think what he might appreciate more are gift cards to the Olive Garden.
You're right.
Is he a big Olive Garden guy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't hear about when he first got hired. He took out some members of the city council to the Olive Garden to just be like, hey, guys, look
forgot
at us.
about
It's a new form of
that.
government.
Yeah.
And then everybody was all pissed, like, how dare you go to a national chain?
Unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks, I assume.
I asked him and he said that. He's like, unlimited soup, salad, and breads. Like, well, come on, what are we doing here?
It makes sense.
I mean, Julia, give him the key, but I'm just saying he might appreciate.
I will.
He might appreciate the Olive Garden gift certificate.
And just to be clear, not a key to my apartment, a key to the city.
There are some doors in Portland that are still locked to Mayor Keith Wilson.
Okay. I would gift both Dan Ryan and Angelita Murillo, our city councilors, a few rounds at Topgolf as a form of team building, since those two in particular appear to need some time together. The catch is that they would have to bring me, though, because my actual motive is just having someone to come with me to Topgolf. No one in my friend circle ever wants to go with me, even when I offer to pay or drive, which is fucking bullshit because Topgolf is so much fun, you guys.
Yeah.
And so to sweeten the deal, Dan and Angelita, I would not only pay for our first couple of rounds, I'd also throw in a plate of nachos and your first drink. This is like a non-joke offer. I think we would have fun. Worst case scenario, it's lame and they could both bond by dunking on me, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a screaming deal. Are you not fun at Topgolf? That's what I'm worried about now.
You think that I bring people to Topgolf and they hate it because of me?
Well, you're doing it for free
That's
for
what's
them.
being insinuated.
Everyone was just like, I'm not going to Hillsboro to play golf. And I'm like, it's not golf. And I try to explain it and they're like, it's just like you're just hitting balls and it's fun.
I'd go. I don't know.
No,
Why not?
I mean, I
right.
retract my statement. I think it's the Hillsboro of it all that's probably the detractor. I bet you're really fun at Topgolf. Shout out to Hillsboro.
You know what? Who knows? Who knows? But Dan and Angelita, you could find out. Let's do it. Topgolf.
I can't wait for the CityCast episode. That's right after I went to Topgolf with Dan Ryan and Angelita Murillo. Here's what I learned.
And we had a wonderful time. Well, guys, amazing gift ideas. Thank you for your answers. On to the news of the week. Althea, you're starting us off. What did you look into?
Yeah, I was looking at this investigation by the Oregon Government Ethics Commission into 6 of our Portland city councilors. I know this was mentioned on CityCast earlier this week, but there's some interesting extra little tidbits that I think we ought to talk about. So the progressive city councilors are being investigated for this meeting that they had in August where they were doing a little work retreat or whatever. But there were 6 of them there. And while 6 isn't a quorum for city council, 3 is a quorum for 4 of the city council committees. So then there was this complaint by former city council candidate Giada Thompson, and they're all getting investigated about whether they broke public meetings law. The newest wrinkle is who is representing 5 of them, who is Ben Haley from the Oregon Justice Resource Center. They represent a lot of protesters in these police misconduct cases. City council is like voting to approve settlements with people who've been abused by Portland police. So this is who their attorney is, 5 of them anyway. And he's doing the work pro bono, which is also kind of odd. And also maybe they're going to start stacking ethics complaints because elected officials aren't allowed to accept gifts over $50.
Oh.
And I'm hearing that lawyers are more expensive than that.
I think they're like at least 55. What I don't understand is why they're lawyering up if it's just like an ethics investigation. Are they going to get prosecuted?
It's a good question.
Or is this like an offensive maneuver to be like, oh yeah, you're investigating me. Well, I have a lawyer. You have to go through my lawyer, like that.
It might be something
I'm
kind
just
of
not
like
getting
that.
it.
I don't know. I mean, the consequences are likely going to be some kind of fine.
Because that's what I thought. It's a fine.
Right.
Because I looked into it about the commission. Because I'm like, okay, who is this ethics commission? Why are they the ones investigating? And what I found out is that, you know, it's always been illegal, you know, not kosher to do this thing where you meet without any of your constituents being there if you're talking about stuff, right? But it wasn't till 2023 when a law was passed by the Oregon legislature that gave this 9-member commission, the ethics board, the power to investigate and train public officials across the state to comply with these public meeting laws. And it's a newish law. So there was this article by the Kaiser Times back in August basically saying that the leaders of Oregon's ethics commission themselves agreed hey, there isn't enough clarity surrounding our new recently acquired powers. Like, what does this mean or whatever? Because our city council isn't the first city council that has been dinged. Salem City Council earlier this year was supposedly violating public meeting laws as well. So that's when I'm just confused as to like, wait, so is this committee fining or bringing legal charge? Like, none of it makes sense.
Right. Well, they passed up on another ethics complaint made against the progressive counselors that had to do with those texts that they were having with Steve Novick. That was also brought to them. And I think they passed up investigating or pursuing that as a complaint that could lead to a fine or getting dinged, like you say. I will say this has really made me sort of meditate on the ethics laws, which are obviously good. Like, the people's representatives should be doing the people's business in view of the people. But functionally, like, I'm also just thinking about city council as a workplace, and now I can't meet with two coworkers at once to try to get something done. Because it doesn't make any sense. And that we have to do telephone. We literally have to do he said, she said, in order to not talk to each other, but not run afoul of these laws. And you can't get in alignment on how people want to do things because you're not allowed to talk to each other except in front of people. But then, when you get out in front of city council or one of these committees and there's a bunch of people listening and you start having conversations that would have made more sense to do in private, it's also kind of embarrassing. Like, the public is sort of like, you guys don't have your stuff together at all. This is, why am I here for this? This is like a proto conversation that I'm not
really
ready
good
for.
Point.
Yeah. Part of me is like, is this impeding decision making? Is this impeding the actual politicians politicking in a way that would make things go faster? And also the fact that people think this doesn't already happen is so silly. Do you think that like our state reps or, you know what I mean? They're not like meeting to talk about how they're going to vote? The fuck they're not. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I get the spirit of the law, but it feels murky.
Definitely. Well, and even with a full seated policy committee, right? If there's 5 counselors up there, because all of them have 5 counselors, if there's another counselor who's not on it testifying in front of them and somebody else, another counselor is also going to testify, they have to go stand outside the room so they don't accidentally create a city council quorum where they could start decision making. And they haven't told anybody they were going to be in quorum. Like, that's weird.
It feels so weird.
It's so weird.
For some reason, too, it seems like it's more complicated because there are so many people involved now.
Yeah.
It just seems like there is more to keep track of. It's just complicated. It's really complicated.
And now there's a lawyer.
And there's a lawyer now.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird. I have sympathy for wanting to have a meeting that moves more quickly, that is getting on the same page with people, also potentially so they don't embarrass you in front of the public on YouTube for everybody to see forever. I don't know. But also like the lawyering up, and then Jamie Dunphy isn't using the pro bono lawyer. Unsure what the relationship is there. It's all very strange.
Maybe because he was like, I'm not going to lawyer up, guys. It's a fine.
Yeah.
Both of these things to me, I'm just like, what's going on, guys? Like, I just feel like things are getting too difficult. I'm like, did anyone, like, who's complaining? I want to know who's complaining.
The city council loser is Gianna Thompson. Sorry, Gianna Thompson, but you did lose.
Oh, so it's someone outside of city council being like,
they're not being transparent.
Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah, well, I guess this is going to keep developing fun for everyone. Well, thanks, Althea, for looking into this. Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, more headlines of the week. Colder weather is coming, and with it, higher energy use. So if you're like me and are looking for ways to lower your electric bill this winter, PGE's customer dashboard makes it so easy to stay in control. Using your dashboard, you can track where your energy is going, see what's driving its use, and discover personalized tips to make helpful adjustments. All you have to do is log in or create an account, then use the Home Energy Analysis tool to update your home profile, and in just a few minutes, you're going to get suggestions tailored to your home and lifestyle. And while you're there, you can also sign up for paperless billing and explore other energy shifting programs recommended just for you. Go check it out at portlandgeneral.com/my-dash. That's portlandgeneral.com/my-dash. If you're a home DIYer like me, you might have a few leftover paint cans gathering dust in your basement. Or maybe your house already came with a bunch of them like mine did. So I'm happy to share that Paint Care makes recycling your leftover paint, stain, and varnish simple and easy with convenient drop-off locations as close as your local hardware store. Paint Care has 3 simple rules for painting smarter. 1, buy the right amount of paint for the job. 2, use up leftover paint. And 3, recycle the rest. If you visit paintcare.org/3 simple rules, you'll find tips on how to do all 3. Buying the right amount of paint for your project, exploring DIY ideas for how to use up leftover paint, and also just look up the nearest drop-off site in your neighborhood. Paint Care is all about keeping it simple for Oregonians. This week, I'm looking into a story by Nigel Jaquist, who wrote it for the Oregon Journalism Project via Willamette Week. And it's kind of a big story that hasn't gotten much reporting, which is that most of our state's leading politicians, we're talking both senators and our governor, are all into this idea of building a billion-dollar shipping terminal in Coos Bay. Now, without any kind of feasibility study or any hard numbers that prove the investment would pay off in any way. Just good old hope and speculation. Immediately, experts in the field are saying, the West Coast is good. We don't need another large container port. These are the large industrial hubs where goods from Asia are then dispersed to the rest of the country. Right now, the biggest ports are in Mexico, California, Washington, and Vancouver, BC. Most of these places have multiple huge, large container ports. And I'm sure some of you are like, well, shouldn't Oregon have one? We do have one. We have a smaller one here in Portland, but it's not considered a major port by comparison to the others, partially because of where it exists. You know, it's just a lot of going down a river and whatever. But here are the facts. Those other ports are seeing a decrease in business. Remember when Portland's own Terminal 6, which is the container port we have, was on the brink of closing because it was losing so much business? So strike one, demand is not increasing. Also, a Coos Bay container port would literally be in competition with Portland's struggling container port. So the other thing that has been brought up by a few of these already larger, more established container ports is that they're expanding. So like LA and I think BC, they're like putting multi-billion-dollar expansion plans into action starting next year, meaning demand will shrink even further. And they're already established. You know what I'm saying? Like, once our port goes online, they would have to like, hey, who wants to come here? You know, like who wants to switch their entire shipping strategy? Like people that are just speculating about this who know what they're talking about, they're just like, so the only way Coos Bay would survive is if it made itself cheaper. Like it could possibly make a buck if they undercut everybody else. But all the numbers that have so far been crunched, including the mechanics of how all the stuff is going to move out of Coos Bay to any of the other major transpo hubs that would send it across the country, are basically saying they're not going to be any cheaper. If anything, it might cost more to ship out of Coos Bay, because right now the only industrial railway out of Coos leads to Eugene, about 110 miles away, on a structurally failing rail line that frequently floods. So a ton of money would have to also be spent to just move the products out of Coos Bay, which is already super fucking far from like any major, okay, now we're going to the Midwest transpo hub. Speaking of costs, the estimated figure that the project is projecting keeps rising. So it's looking already like a money pit. It first started off as, hey, it's only going to take $1 billion to build out and rehabilitate the terminal and enhance this rickety Coos Bay line I just told you about. Then 6 months later, they're like, no, wait, JK, 1.7 billion. Now it's 2.3 billion officially that they're sharing, but Nigel Jaquist found the project application to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They regulate dredging. More on that later, dredging. And that application speculated it could cost as much as $4.36 billion.
Oh, my God.
Back to the dredging. So Coos Bay is not deep enough for these large container ships. So 20.3 million cubic yards of sand rock, enough to fill more than 6,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools, would need to be dredged out of that bay and dumped offshore. Where? I don't know. Not there. Just imagine what that's going to do to the bay's natural habitats. And Oregon lawmakers have already allocated $100 million to widen and deepen that channel so it's accessible to these cargo ships. Though, know that the $100 million is like kind of floating until the project can prove that it has the other bajillion dollars it needs. So know that like your tax dollars haven't been spent, but like everyone's like, oh no, we're definitely going to do this. We're so proud of Coos Bay. You're going to do it, you know? And every time that Nigel would go to like, you know, Senator Wyden or Merkley, even the governor, they're just like, thumbs up. This is an amazing idea. What? We need this for Coos Bay. So Coos Bay, this is why, at one point was America's largest timber port. Since the 80s, like so many coastal towns in our area, the population declined. So did the industry and economic opportunities around them. So since the 80s, state leaders have been struggling with what to do to revitalize these rural coastal towns. This project is literally created by like some of the biggest Coos Bay themselves at one point state leaders. Is it making sense?
Yes.
So they're the ones who are like, no, guys, listen to us. This is what we need. And the state leaders are like, okay, rural town, we believe in you. Here is $100 million that you can't touch until you get all the other billions ready. But we are thumbs upping this. We're not going to shit on it because we want Coos Bay to win. So that's where this insane idea is at.
Because they're imagining that this will create like thousands of jobs for folks in that area to jump in on, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And what has already been predicted by economists, by people in yachts, by the way. Like people who work in terminals in other coastal towns are just like, Newport tried to do that. And, you know, they keep rehabbing their international port. Last, they dumped money and it was in 2000s. And like, nothing's happening. Like, it just doesn't work, you guys. Like, listen to us. Also, maybe a ton of jobs will start once, you know, for the build out, like building the thing.
Yeah.
But there's not going to be enough money to sustain any kind of like longshoreman activity.
Yeah, because it's ultimately setting itself up to be a failed project, which is insane.
It's a lot of money, guys. In the article, they say other than like the I-5 bridge over the Columbia River, you can't really find an infrastructure project in Oregon that is that expensive. And that one people will use.
One that we actually need.
Yeah, that one is unfortunately imperative. Well, it was also interesting to see how much of the logic and some of the figures that the project is touting were based on the pandemic bottleneck of like global trade and things like that. But then hearing economists say, no, that was kind of like a unique situation. I don't think that having a giant port in Coos Bay and also rebuilding a rail line and also dredging and putting so much sand in the middle of the ocean, I don't know that that's going to fix that, unfortunately.
Yeah, because they were just like, remember when we didn't have toilet paper? And we're like, in 2021? Yeah, that happened like for 3 months, dude.
Under unprecedented circumstances?
And people panic bought. We had toilet paper.
We definitely did.
People were just buying too much. That's when someone in Coos Bay was like, I have an idea.
It's sad, honestly.
No, it is, because ultimately rural coastal towns do need something, like an industry. I just don't think that the state should be encouraging this one.
Yeah,
you know,
there's got to be something else.
Literally anything else.
Yeah, I guess the money could be invested in workforce development in some other way.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be.
Even that $100 million. Yeah. Why don't we create like a task force, a study or whatever that thinks about this, gets economists, and they're like, okay, what can we do with our coast? That would make more sense, you know, than this like weird thing. Also, the state just doesn't have a good track record. Like most recently, the state of Oregon spent something like $70 million on rail terminals in Millersburg, Linn County, one in Malheur County, and all the out-of-state experts, just like this project here in Coos Bay, were like, hey guys, this is going to fail. Don't do it. And they were right. Those did fail. So I don't know. Again, a lot of people are really into this project, but just FYI, these are the facts as reported by Nigel Jaquist. It just blew my mind, that's all. Thanks for letting me talk about boats.
No, it's crazy.
Thanks for letting me talk about ships, you guys. Well, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, more headlines of the week. Friends don't let friends drink and drive, and here in Portland, that message really matters because nearly half of our traffic deaths involve impairment. The Portland Bureau of Transportation, though, is working really hard to make our streets safer. So this New Year's Eve, you can celebrate responsibly by taking a safe ride home. PBOT is offering $10 off your Uber and Lyft trips that start in the city of Portland from 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve through 4 a.m. on January 1st, all while supplies last. You can get your discount code starting on December 31st at portland.gov/SafeRide25 or on Safe Ride home flyers that will be up at many bars and locations serving alcohol on New Year's Eve. Again, go to portland.gov/SafeRide25 for $10 off your Uber or Lyft trip home on New Year's Eve. Help us all ring in the new year safely. Please don't drink and drive. Okay, Giulia, it's your turn.
All right. So my segment today comes from some reporting by Abe Asher at the Portland Mercury, Andrew Jankowski at Willamette Week, and Christine De Leon at the Oregonian. So lots of folks talking about this right now. And I'm basically pulling together a handful of local labor union news in our city, specifically related to New Season's, Legacy Health, and Starbucks. So very rarely do I get to say this, but I'm actually going to start with some good news first.
Yay.
So this is related to New Seasons. And after years of organizing and negotiating, workers finally secured their first labor contract. And for context, they've been negotiating literally since 2022. Dang. So there's been a ton of back and forth. So the deal was finalized earlier this month, and it kind of came as a surprise to the workers because they were already gearing up to go on strike again this week, just in time for the busiest grocery week of the year. And I want to break down this contract because there are some big wins here. So this will apply to roughly 850 union members working at 10 different unionized New Season stores in the Portland area. Biggest one, I think, is they are going to implement a $19 per hour starting wage for new employees, which is a huge bump because as of right now, it's only $16.30. So it's one of the highest starting wages for grocery workers in the area. And continuing workers will also get pay raises between 50 and 70 cents per hour. And just in general, wages are going to rise yearly with the cost of living. And basically, they're implementing a bunch of rules around how often people can work. So the term is like clopen. So how many times people will close and then open the next day so that there's more time in between shifts for folks to rest. And beyond that, they're also implementing rules around working less than 7 consecutive days in a row. That's kind of like where the cap is and how many times that you can do that. And then the last big one is there was a bunch of back and forth surrounding health benefits and how New Seasons has always had this, you only have to work 24 hours per week in order to qualify for benefits. Well, the company was trying to raise that to 28. There's a lot of back and forth on who could keep the only 24-hour rule and if only new folks would then have to bump up to 28 hours. But that all went away, and now it's back to the usual just 24-hour a week qualification. So those are some of the key points, but there is some speculation on why the negotiating was successful this time. And one of the ideas is that they actually just teamed up with the United Electrical and Machine Workers of America union. And this is a pretty big union. And what they were doing was they were working between the two groups to give New Seasons workers more access to strike funds. And they were going to give them hundreds of thousands of dollars so they could strike for a much longer time period this time around. And the company just saw that and kind of thought to themselves, like, we may be actually screwed on this one if we don't give them what they want, which
Totally.
It's so cool to hear. Like, I can't imagine how the New Seasons workers feel after all these years finally getting to the point that they're at. It really is such a big win. I do want to talk about the other couple strikes going on at Starbucks and Legacy Health, but I do want to know, like, how are you guys feeling about this? Are you going to go back to shopping at New Seasons at all? Like, what's going through your heads?
What a pleasant surprise. Like you said, it's so rare to get good news about a strike being averted because, hey, we're back at the table and this contract seems actually super reasonable. So let's go with it, you know?
Yeah.
And also to have been, you know, organized, unionized for that long, but not enjoying the full protections of a contract, like that is definitely sort of trepidatious territory to be in. And so to have your work come to fruition is very, very cool. And shout out to them.
Yeah. I feel like it was that perfect combo of this is the busiest couple weeks of our entire year. Plus, oh, you have some new friends and they're going to pay for your strike. Okay.
Oh,
Can't bully the
boy.
little guy
Oh,
anymore.
boy.
You've done it this time.
Yeah, good for them. Will I go back?
Yeah.
I'll be shopping at New Seasons as often as I was before. That's what I'll say.
That's the thing, right? Like, they're still owned by this, like, Korean mega corporation. So it's like, you know.
Wow, Giulia. Why not just a corporation? Wow.
It's the distance for me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like,
Oh,
they're not
yeah,
even
yeah,
here.
'cause they're
so
foreign.
far away.
Yeah, because they're not you. Yeah, I get it, Giulia. Wow.
You know what I'm saying. Don't pin me in a corner, okay? Anyway, so very, very happy for New Seasons workers. But I want to pivot to Starbucks and Legacy Health. So we have some ongoing strikes at Legacy Health right now. And basically back on December 2nd, 140 advanced practice providers like nurse practitioners and physician associates, clinical nurse specialists started an open-ended strike. And this is because they've been trying to negotiate their first labor contract since they unionized back in 2023. So
Wow.
a few years of going back and forth and back and forth. And they want things changed regarding patient care and staffing levels and compensation broadly. But the news right now is that the strike is planned to escalate a little bit in the coming weeks, with about 50 nurse practitioners and physician associates at Legacy Go Health urgent care clinics planning to strike December 21st through December 23rd, and another 30 pediatric nurse practitioners and physician associates who work at Legacy clinics and the Randall's Children's Hospital planning to also walk out December 22nd through 24th, which is pretty wild, y'all.
That is
I feel like a lot
crazy.
more like emergency situations come up during the holidays because people are outside of their usual like day-to-day grind. And it seems like that it's going to be very disruptive. And there are already so many folks on strike. So that's happening with Legacy Health. And then lastly, there are some Starbucks workers in our area that have been striking for over a month now. There are 10 Portland locations that have unionized workers, all striking around what they're calling the Red Cup Rebellion. And this coincides with the rollout of Starbucks holiday Red Cups and seasonal items. They just hosted a rally earlier this week, and there was a few dozen people and a couple city councilors in attendance just marking the 1 month point. And they've been putting in a ton of effort to negotiate, but Starbucks and the workers union haven't been able to come back to the table since April. And this killed me. So it was reported that during the last negotiations, the union asked for a 65% raise during its contract's first year, with a 77% raise over 3 years for their workers. But then Starbucks countered with no raise during its contract's first year and a 1% raise over 3 years.
It's terrible. Sorry, that is
Why
terrible.
even bother?
That
Just
is
say
like-
no.
Or that is seriously not just a no, but like a no with a middle finger.
That is a huge middle finger. I read that. I
How
was like,
insulting.
are you kidding me? Like, oh, it's just crushing. But they're going strong, and they're asking folks in the Portland area to please boycott all Starbucks
Done.
and Starbucks products. Like, and folks, like, there are a million coffee shops in our area. You do
Yeah.
not need to go to Starbucks.
Please
Please
don't go to
stop going.
Starbucks.
It's
Please
not any
stop.
cheaper. It's not any better.
It
just
tastes burnt.
it's bad.
Also, if you're in your heart, you know, a lot of Portlanders have like that fake like animosity towards Seattle. They're a Seattle company, you guys.
I know. It's just like it's all.
Like,
What are
stop
we
it.
doing? There
Stop
shouldn't be a
it.
single Starbucks in Portland. I said it.
Whoa.
Get out of here. I'm surprised that Portlanders who supposedly have such an enhanced palate for certain things, including coffee, are just like, Starbucks.
It's just you
The
know.
worst coffee, you guys. The taste is awful.
And sometimes, here's the
Gosh,
thing.
just, you know.
Sometimes you go to a coffee shop that you've never been to before, and the coffee that you get is not good. And that's part of life. And you learned something that day, okay? That's okay. Just because it's the same thing every time doesn't mean that it's good.
Oh, you're talking about that's what Starbucks would provide
Yes,
is this
yeah.
sort of consistent like
That
McDonald's,
comfort,
which
yeah.
basically means it's like it's always going to be crappy.
Yeah, they're like, I want 3 honey
Mhm.
packets. I want 2 scoops of this and 2 shots of the vanilla syrup that for some reason only you guys have or whatever.
And all that means is they're just lulling you into being subservient to the man,
Yeah!
guys. Come on,
Yeah, fuck the man,
man.
by the way.
wake up.
Christmas season is strike season. Let's go on strike.
That's the best way to finish segments, by the way. Now it's just like, I'm going on strike. And it's like, God damn
I gotta
it.
get out of here.
You didn't finish reading the article is what I'm hearing. Well, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning, going through some headlines. Before we head out, we have some shout outs from members of our Portland Neighbors program. One of the perks of being a paying member of CityCast Portland is the opportunity to shout out a local business or organization that you love. Giulia, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, this one's from Dean W. And they're saying, Loretta Jeans on Division Street, a sweet little spot for great pie. I love shouting out Loretta Jeans. They really do have some great pie.
Oh, man. Yeah, they really do. And I'm like, a lot of people who aren't pie people are always just like, oh, Loretta Jeans, I'd eat their pie. You know,
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Oh, that one really broke
I
out
like the husky voice that you did for this non-pie lover who's making an exception.
I love Loretta Jeans pie. All right, Alicia O wrote, the Woodstock Cafe on Southeast Woodstock, Portland's own deaf center community space for pop-ups, performances, workshops, ASL classes, art installations, and more. And don't forget the wonderful coffee and food. So unique to go in and find yourself immersed in another language and culture. All right, there we go. Here's one coffee shop that
Another
is not
coffee
Starbucks.
shop. Yeah, and I guarantee you Loretta Jeans has coffee too. If you go, I'm sure.
Oh my God, and pie. All right, shout out to Dean and Alicia, and a huge thanks to our newest members, Prue H, Stacy D.H, Lindsay R, Abigail C, Thomas M, Vera Alcorn, and Masataka B. You guys, thank you so much for joining. When you join as a Portland neighbor, we'd also be happy to read your shout outs of places you love in Portland alongside a bunch of other free perks like ad-free listening, invites to member-only events. We're having one this weekend. Join at membership.citycast.fm. Well, you guys, thanks again, Althea, Giulia. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope everyone listening also has a wonderful weekend. Thanks again for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. Our podcast production team this week was John Atariani, Giulia Fiaoni, Shannon Lynch, Lizzie Goldsmith, and myself. Our newsletter editor is Rachel Monahan, and our host is me, Claudia Meza. Original music by Jenny Conley and Stephen Drizos. Additional music by All the Kimonos, as well as Sarah the Instrumentalist, Timothy Infinite, and Gregory David, courtesy of Epidemic Sound. We also have Opal 99 and D-May, courtesy of Triple Scoop Music. We'll be back Monday morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.